What up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Jeff and Jeff right here on Orange Bloods Live. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That is Jeff Bowerman. We're both ex-Grisham Grizzly basketball players in the house.
Yes, sir. GMS, baby.
We're going to be breaking down Texas v. Arizona State. 5 things you need to be looking for in that game. I want to remind everybody a couple things. 1, like, comment, subscribe to the page. There's no reason why you wouldn't do that. And number 2, let Groggy Dog, the company that brings you these videos every single week, let them be your branding experts. It doesn't matter whether or not it's teams or business or promotional or embroidery, whatever work you need done, let them be the all-purpose leader in promotional products for your company or school business, whatever the case may be. Our guy, Jeff, he's helping run things behind the scenes. Anything you need, they'd be glad to show you why their customer care makes some difference than so many options that you have. We love Groggy Dog. He's sporting some Groggy Dog action today, as a matter of fact. I'm totally digging the hoodie.
Good.
Where do we start today? I was really proud of us last week in that we didn't just paint by numbers on things that we were looking for in the game. I thought the words came to fruition more than they didn't. So I'm curious to see where you start against Arizona State, a game Texas should win this game.
Yeah. I've been watching y'all, obviously, this week as y'all kind of dive into the game and break it down on the various shows and, compare the rosters on paper and really what have they done on the field. And to me, Texas looks like a 14 to 21 point advantage. So, but you got to go play the game and you got to get it done. And I think one of the keys for the Longhorns, and I'll lead off here and take number 1, is going to be 11 hats to the football on defense. The few games that I watched Arizona State play, I mean, Scatterbo, just the first guy rarely gets him to the ground. Right. And I think you've got to have that gang tackling. You've got to have that run support, and you got to have that tenacious mentality, all 11 to the ball, and let's get that dude down and go from there.
Yeah, I think that this is a matchup that Texas, no matter where we were going to start, Texas has better personnel. So when we talk about getting 11 guys to the football, that should look, quite frankly, like something that Arizona State hasn't seen this season, that Texas will give them defensively a matchup that can't be replicated in the Big 12. Mm-hmm. And so, I think there are games where I think Georgia's probably the one that sticks out the most, what it's like to have to adjust to somebody else's personnel. Arizona State will be the team in this game that's got to adjust to an increased level of personnel that's playing against. If Texas is getting to the football with 11 guys, then they're going to win this game going away. It really will require both, I think in all 3 phases, something unorthodox, which probably just leads into my number 1. It's not any one thing. Just be good. Just show up in a quarterfinals performance and, don't have us say, well, could Texas win this game with a C+ or a B+? How about just show up and play? Because if Texas shows up and plays, I think, a game as well as they did even against Clemson a week ago, they'll win this game by double digits and find themselves in the semifinals. So it's like, hey, Arizona State can't land a glove on you. Really, like most of the teams on this schedule, Jeff, if we see a Texas team show up that doesn't have to be coddled into taking the game seriously. I think the thing that we really like about this team a lot is how grown up it is. And it doesn't need to be told when a game matters and when it doesn't. They showed up all season long. And if they show up and are generally themselves in this game, it's hard for me to imagine Texas not winning this game by double digits. So just be you. Just be Texas.
What Sarkis said all year, and one of his go-tos is the standard, right? The standard is the standard. Play to the standard, right? And you're in a position to have a comfortable lead in the fourth quarter. That's good.
It's easier said than done.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But
I mean,
I think, if we didn't think this team could do it, we probably would have a lot less faith in its ability to win a national championship. One of the reasons why I think we feel like this team's right there in the mix to do so is because we don't have to say very often. Weirdly, we have to say it to Georgia and a few other schools more than we have to say it about Texas.
yeah, that's a good point.
If Texas just shows up and does its thing on Saturday, or excuse me, on Wednesday when these teams play on New Year's Day, like they'll win. And it'll take an unorthodox, like I've tried to like walk my way down the path. And it's like, well, the offense has to have a day that there's nothing to write home about. Oh, and on the same day, the defense has to do the exact same thing. And oh, by the way, maybe mix in a special teams gaffe or monster play that it's like a lot of things have to go a certain kind of way in order for Arizona State to really be in this game and to win it. And if even one of them, one phase of the Texas football team shows up and plays really well, it really puts some ointment in, I think, Arizona State's best case scenario.
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on with that. Number 3 for me would be defensively, keep everything in front of you. Like make them drive the length of the field. Make Arizona State, if they're going to score, string together 12, 13, 14, 15 play drives, because A, I don't think they can do it, but B, I mean, if you just don't give up the big play, and give them belief and hope, then it's certainly a step in the right direction. You just can't give up the big play. Keep in front of you, make the tackle, and let's make them drive the length of the field on defense.
I think that's one of the things that this defense did do that last week. And if you'll remember, Clemson was Kate Klubnik in particular was saying, well, they want us to go 10 plays.
Yeah.
And that's not what we want to do or be. Interestingly enough, like Clemson actually did. That's what they did. They
in the second half,
Texas forced them into kind of, well, if you're going to do this on us, you're going to have to march the length of the field and nickel and dime it all the way down. And to Clemson's credit, they did the really hard thing. It's one of the reasons why I think Texas not completely losing its mind over the game that it found itself in last week. Clemson gave them some punches and they more than survived. And I think, I don't know that that's enough to win the biggest of the games that are left on this schedule, but it probably was enough to win last weekend by double digits. I think would be enough to win this weekend by double digits. And then, I think it remains to be seen whether or not let me ask you this. Do you think we've seen the Texas 4-quarter performance so far this season that beats Ohio State and Oregon in a semifinal?
No. I think
not
the
even
closest,
Michigan?
I was going to say the closest was going to be Michigan and or Florida. Michigan, what do we call him? Michigan Quinn, or if we get Michigan Quinn, that gives you a chance against the top teams, and then the complementary football and just the overall soundness of the performance against Florida, with or without Lagway, I think was a good feather in Texas's cap. But no, collectively, all 4 quarters, 60 minutes. National championship level in all 3 phases. We haven't seen that yet. And you think as the season goes and as guys get healthier and as, coaches understand and dial it in, that it's got to be there. And that's what it's going to take. You want to see another step in the right direction against Arizona State. First and foremost, win the damn game. But second, let's keep trending up, knowing what's ahead, Ohio State, Oregon, and or Georgia, Notre Dame, likely. So we'll see. It's going to take some doing. I'm excited. But the fact that we're there, I mean, think about where the Texas Longhorn fan base has been for most of my adult life. God bless us. Why I've got freaking white beard. But to be there, 2 years in a row, and to be in the hunt, and, credit to Quinn Ewers, credit to Sark, credit to the coaching staff, credit to CDC, the administration. I mean, just the fact that we're there. I mean, what a freaking time to subscribe to orangebloods.com and celebrate it. So
I find myself thinking about the question that I asked you about the Texas performance. Have we seen that yet? And I think about the rest of the teams who that's in the playoffs do we think has played a game that they would say, hey, if we just do that again, that's good enough to beat anybody? I feel like
maybe Ohio State last week against Tennessee.
maybe I was
Maybe.
gonna get to them and say,
Yeah.
is that Ohio? Because the question ultimately I was gonna ask is, I wonder if my memory of that game was that Ohio State was really good, and that I thought they were better than Oregon, but Oregon ends up winning the game, and I don't say that to really take anything away from them, other than to say I wonder if Ohio State feels like if they played that game all over again at the level that they did, that would be good enough to win on most days. I wonder how Ohio State fans feel about that performance. In a way, I think it was probably better than the Tennessee game performance, but
Hopefully, yeah.
But Tennessee is no Oregon, and going on the road at Oregon, obviously a different kettle of fish than playing at home in December against a Tennessee offense they're just not very good. So look, Oregon would probably point to their performance against Ohio State, or they've got a couple of them, right? So they would say Penn State, pick a game. We've got a couple.
Yeah.
I think Georgia would point to the Texas games and say, hey, man, we won that game in Austin by
the one in Austin
touchdowns. Yeah. That counts. Maybe Ohio State last week, but I don't know if anybody else has one.
And again, in full disclosure, I haven't seen enough of Notre Dame because, like a lot of the college football fandom, I kind of pushed them aside after they lost to Northern Illinois, and then you look and they've kind of put the pieces together as the season has progressed. I think Ohio State has the highest ceiling, right? Maybe outside of Texas. I mean, I think Texas, you have to consider if you get Michigan Quinn with a reasonably healthy Isaiah Bond, with Jaden Ballou attacking like he is, putting the ball in his hands, with the Texas defense playing like it is, the Texas ceiling is higher than Ohio State. I think our best beats their best. Can we get there? That's the big question. But Ohio State threatens, and I think Oregon too. I mean, Oregon has been probably the most consistent team. I mean, look, they've been number one for how long, and they're rolling. But I just don't get the feeling that Oregon's ceiling is as high as Ohio State's or Texas.
And I'm not sure that Texas's ceiling is higher than Ohio State's. I'm not saying it is or isn't. I
think maybe up front. I don't know. That's where I think you could kind of put the skill players out and just they're even up, but
they're not though. I think Ohio State has a definitive edge.
A receiver.
I do. We're not talking about a healthy Isaiah Bond. We're talking about the Isaiah Bond that exists right now.
60% at best. Yeah.
I think man for man, Ohio State's got better skill guys right now than Texas.
Yeah.
Possibly. And defensively, they're like kissing cousins.
Yeah.
Depending on the stat that you look at, both of them are 1 or 2. They're really good. I think if you're Texas, you'd rather if it was, you'll get the A- version of Ohio State or Oregon. I think you might rather play Ohio State. But if it's which A+ of those two teams would you not want to play?
Very good point. Yeah.
I think Ohio State is the A+ team you wouldn't want to see. Whereas it's hard for me to imagine that Oregon could manhandle and blow Texas out.
Yeah.
Ohio State on its best day, and I think Texas and Ohio State would probably say, look, if we play Texas on Texas's best day and we laid an egg, they might put it on us. But I think Ohio State is one of a few teams that they can put it on anybody. And it's just a matter of who do you get? Every time Texas got Georgia this year, they got the best version of Georgia that Georgia had to give. Is that just what Texas does? Maybe if they get an A+ version of Ohio State, at which point maybe Oregon's the team that you want. I don't know. I'm utterly confused by that game. And it will be one of the few games that I watch, I think, all year long where I, A, don't think I know exactly what's going to happen. And B, you kind of feel like what's best for Texas. And I don't know that I know in that game.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good
I
point.
mean, it's in Dallas no matter what.
Yeah.
So seems like he'd rather play Oregon in Dallas than Ohio State in Dallas.
Probably. Yeah.
But maybe you'd just rather play Oregon than Ohio
Either way,
State.
anywhere.
Almost.
That's the beauty of the college football playoff. I mean, yeah, there's going to be some adjustments and some tweaks to it going forward. But I mean, how awesome is this? I mean, we're sitting here, 4 days till the end of 2024, and we're still talking about such meaningful, tangible, big time, tense, exciting football games, and the Longhorns are a part of it. Man, it's so freaking awesome. I'm fired
You
up.
just told me, man. You just cut a wrestling promo.
That's right. That's right.
My number 4, I'll lean in on Quinn.
Hey, you waited till 4. Okay.
I don't care.
You're sticking with it?
I don't need Quinn. We talk about Michigan Quinn because, boy, wouldn't that be something?
The mythical character that is Michigan Quinn.
I didn't think he was that against Clemson, but I thought that was good enough, Quinn, that, if you're going to get that version. Now, the thing that I would have liked to have seen, and I've been kind of open about this, that was a really good-looking Quinn that we saw on Saturday against Clemson. I would have liked to have seen Sark let that version of Quinn cook a little more.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need Quinn, I think, at some point to win a game for you. So I'd like to see them treat Quinn like a nuclear weapon of sorts.
Yeah, detonate him. Let him go.
I don't think that's what happened. But if everything else is going to be hitting on all cylinders, and you've got that version of Quinn to go along with it, this team's going to win games. So it'll certainly be good enough this weekend. I think there's still another level of Quinn that Texas will need if it wants to win a national championship. And I think I'm honestly just talking about when they play either Oregon or Ohio State, that will be the best version of this Texas team that we'll have needed to see all season. It will need in that game, maybe not even in the championship game, but in that game, we'll have to see the performance. And I don't think we've seen it yet. I don't know if I reverse engineer it and I go, okay, well, Clemson and or A&M on the road or Florida or Michigan, like whatever performance that is, do I think that wins in Dallas against Ohio State in late December or early January? It's like, I don't know that I'd quite go that far. So the good news is, it's still out there to be obtained.
Yeah.
I think if you're Georgia, you had to play Texas again for a third time, you'd be like, how many lives do we have? Because it feels like we've used all 9 to get to the point that we're at with this Texas team. All right, give me number 5.
Defensive adjustments. I think as good as Klubnik was and as good as the weapons that Clemson had, I think you saw as that game went along, Clemson found a few things offensively, especially with downfield and some of their route trees, their route combinations, and some of the way that they attack, and the fact that they were definitely going after Muhammad. And you saw so many times, for really the first time all year, Texas DB sitting there, after the play, trying to figure out what happened. Right. I want to see, that Arizona State, obviously has digested that film and is going to try to do some of the same things. Now, do they have the same weapons? No, but they can run similar concepts. So I want to see what we adjust. I mean, Taft, as much as I love him, the first 3 quarters of that game are not going to be on his draft mixtape. So let's see if we can adjust defensively and tighten the screws and really lock down on Arizona State. I don't see how Arizona State scores more than 14 points if Texas, tightens up their defensive performance. So how do we adjust from? I don't want to say we got exposed, but we got pushed defensively. So
I think those guys are hoping that teams will have looked at that film and said, "We can do that. Let's do that." Let's do that. Clemson did.
That's true. Because they don't have Kate
like, you know what?
Yeah.
We'll be just fine if somebody else wants to try that. It's what I said this weekend in a number of shows. It looks good, man. If you got a quarterback that can stand back there and throw balls like Klubnik was throwing on Saturday, and you've got future NFL wide receivers, maybe go for it. Like, I think that's where Ohio State's scary, is that
because they might have that.
They could replicate that.
Yeah, and even
I
to a higher level.
I don't even know that Oregon can completely do that. So
I kept thinking too. I got to give credit. Catch, didn't you have Klubnik ranked ahead of yours? Right? Weren't you one of? I kept thinking that watching the damn game. I'm like, God damn it, Catch, you were right. Like, you see him on the same field, push it. Okay, he was good. Like I thought a lot of that was Texas, but then when you go back and rewatch that game, and it was like he made throws that, like, okay, we'll give you that throw if you can make it. Tip your cap and let's go snap it again. But he was.
There
awesome.
have been days I've seen him throw the ball that well, but it never felt like he has the talent to make some of the catches that were made on Saturday. But I mean, you can see that they've got good skill guys. I think Texas came out of that game feeling like, you know what, that was a good scrimmage, and I don't mean that like in a bad way towards Clemson. I mean, Texas will feel like, you know what, as much as anything that we've done this year, that got us ready for I think Texas will look back at the Clemson game and think Cade Klubnik got us ready for Dylan Gabriel and or Will Howard in a way that nobody else did in that entire season. So I think they will appreciate that. Okay, now we've seen it. We've seen it a game, what it looks like if somebody's got our number a little bit. Maybe you need just a taste of that to truly be able, like you said, to respond to that level of duress and stress that Clemson was able to put them under. I really think there's not a whole lot more. This thing really could come down to as simple as number 2 on the list, which is just Texas beat Texas.
Standard, yeah.
Is that enough to beat Oregon and Ohio State? We'll have a video next week. We'll break all down and
look at you teasing it. You're an expert in business. Teasing it forward.
But against Arizona State, beating Texas should be more than enough. And if it's not, that will be the talking point.
Yeah.
If Texas slides through this game and it's
27,
38-37 Insta Classic, we'll probably go, oh, that was an amazing game. But that feels ominous for what lies ahead, knowing that Arizona State will not be the bar by which Texas judges its season. Period.
Yep. All right, we'll see. Going to be a big one. Happy New Year's.
Guys, like, comment, subscribe to the video, and more than anything else, we say it all the time. If at some point in 2025 you need a branding expert or embroidery, your business, teams, because it's almost town and country season. For those of you that were out, those old timers like ourselves. Does town and country still exist?
I don't think. Well, I don't know. I need to look. Check that out. I'm gonna be in Austin this weekend. I wonder
if our old stomping grounds still exist the way that it did. Let Groggy Dog be your stomping ground. So,
moral of that story.
Should you need a promotional products company, let them be your branding experts. They will do it all: business, promotional, embroidery, schools, teams, you name it. They've got you covered. Go to groggydogonline.com. Take a little virtual tour of everything that they've got going on there. But reach out. Let them, at some point in 2025, be the answer to a question that you'll have. And then they can be the answer to questions that you have forevermore. Same question, just Groggy Dog over and over and over again. For myself, for Jeff Bowerman, again, we just discovered a week ago that we were middle school.
Yes.
We were both on the Grisham Grizzlies basketball team once upon a blue moon many moons ago. Shout out to Coach Schmidt and Coach Tooley, who were leading us fine minds back in the day. For Jeff, and Jeff, we'll do this again next week because, of course, Texas is going to beat Arizona State and play in an even bigger game than that, which means we'll have even bigger and better analysis right here on Orange Blizz Live. You guys take care. Later.